are protecting the back. So it's a very interesting set of drafts. Like, this is certainly not... It's different from what we've been seeing yesterday. But I do like what Shopify is cooking. I still feel like this Kotl Storm combination hasn't been fully answered. They've banked all their backline jump basically onto GPK. Maybe Kiritic once you get something like the Blink up. But until that point, like, your backline's fully protected. You only have to worry about GPK, and GPK can only stop one of them as long as Shopify plays the positioning right.
It'll be a very interesting game one. I don't know which draft to go with. I feel like I agree that Shopify came out with maybe my preferred draft as well, John, but it's hard to bet against BetBoom. These guys, I probably shouldn't talk too much, John, because every time I start praising these boys, you know, every series we cast, something wrong happens for them. But I'm a BetBoom. They're a hard team to underestimate, John, as we do see a smoke-on-smoke scenario already here between these two sides. It's like BetBoom trying to sneak into that dire triangle. They will come in from the south, but the Violama is going to be there to break a smoke on Kiritic, and it seems like they just go for a large camp block in the triangle, and that's about it. They'll get the hell out of it.
Going to be a bit of a sneaky one. At least you have the sentry ready on Hellscream, so it's going to miss out one stack opportunity, but if he does check, he should be able to keep that stack build up quite fine, which is really what you need. You're running Kotl, you want to get that flash farm going for your team, you want to give Devi some security and the potential for Yamato to just explode in that fort once the Battle Fury's up. We'll see if they do manage to scout that out. Relatively even in the bounty runes here as well. Some poking and prodding from Skem very early on here. He does have the sleepwalk, so it can be really annoying with just dragging you back, preventing you from kind of trying to kite around, and already getting a lot of value just in trades. That's going to waste a couple of these tangos. Save bot 2 sets at least. So he does have a little bit more leeway to play with, but you are leaving that lane 1v1. On the mid lane, though, you do have GPK on that Puck with Yopaj on the Storm. And this matchup for Puck is pretty fine. It's also fine for Storm. Like, it's a very stable lane for both sides. You've got outplay potential on GPK. Yopaj does have really good right click damage. He can afford to just go for focusing on Static Remnant and Overload. No need for the value point of Vortex here. With a range matchup, rune control's the big part. And it's like you were talking about in the pregame, Mike. Shopify has been a little bit slow in backing up Yopaj for some of these power runes. And this matchup requires like really good control, especially at I want to say the 4-minute water rune's actually pretty important here. Kind of dictates who gets a faster 6. So if you can kind of deny one off and give Yopaj the other one, you can start to feel pretty good. Same thing goes for BetBoom though. If they get that same move out, could be a bit rough for Yopaj to build into that 6 first.
It could be. See if they do make those rotations early on here for Yopaj, as we are seeing GPK harassing the Storm Spirit quite a lot, and generally the Puck does tend to have a small advantage in this matchup. For now, CS-wise, he's ahead on the Storm, but it is still very even. How's bot lane going? Because top lane's boring as hell with an Abaddon against the Bane. Of course, we've got the Violama here on the Dark Seer. He'll be with Hellscream on the Kotl, and of course Kiritic and Kataomi going against them. Seems like things are pretty smooth here for Kiritic, John, which I guess you'd kind of expect anyway. So the Violama can't really do much but just push out the lane, because you do have a lot of stacks being made already by Hellscream on the Kotl, but it doesn't really seem like they can do too much about the Sven quite yet.
They certainly can't, and I don't think you can at any point as well in this laning phase. You don't have a great combination for the Iron Shell for Divide to play off of. You don't really outpoke the Sven. Kataomi can play from pretty far away with the Chill and Touch. There's no potential to trade away. At least, again, the stack focus from Hellscream has been on the right side rather than the triangle. So that build-up is there. They have to be pretty secure with it, especially into the 7-minute Shrine of Wisdom. That's going to be a big one where a lot of teams tend to snipe that area out. Shopify should be investing to keep their own area secure. But otherwise, you are just handing a freebie out to Kiritic. Already 17-3, uncontested, free solo lane overall here. No pressure coming out for the Sven. And they'll need to find a way to stop that later on for Shopify. At least there's not been as much room on the side of BetBoom, of course, to get some early stacks. The lanes are still active. Top, it's not like Save can just kind of leave Miero alone. It is still a melee matchup into an Ursa, which can go back and forth. Divide.
We're going. In lane, Devi in trouble, is down. Not a great sign. Devi Lama hitting that level 3 mark, but dying anyway here to Kiritic and Kataomi. And But you don't really need to hand this Sven any more gold than he's already got. Johnny's top CS on the board, and you know these little bits of bonus gold certainly going to make it a lot harder for Shopify to keep up.
And it will. Not going to be the best note, but again, this lane's probably your hardest lane here for Shopify. Divide just has nothing to launch off of, has no real poke to try to control that lane with pressure. They do get some room out to at least try to contest the Watt rune, but it looks like we will get a 1-for-1 on each. In fact, no. The other one was taken by Scam, forced to pick it up. So it's Yopaj without the refill. And we talked about this earlier on. Whoever gets that 4-minute Watt rune has a big advantage here.
I was very close in the power shot execution. Not quite triggering, sadly, but very, very close on Yopaj. Be so careful. Like, just every team we see puts so much emphasis on ensuring that Yopaj just doesn't have a game, and well, at least for now his CS is still great, but it's like you said, these bottle refills in a matchup like Puck vs Storm, it's just so detrimental to not get those refills going for yourself. And well, for now they miss out on one. Things still pretty smooth. Kiritic still top of the CS board on the Sven, of course. In the meantime, this Miero's been having a very good time as well on the Abaddon, which is not really unexpected. You know, he's basically got a free lane in that off lane as well. Sure, Yamato could think about applying a bit of pressure on the Ursa, but it's probably not worth his time. It's not worth the risk.
No, not quite yet. Maybe by the time you have that level 6, it could be a little bit simpler, but that's way off. You're going to be sitting in the jungle. You're going to be trying to farm up. The phase boots timing, at least for this Ursa, is still lining up, so you will have that capability to try to chase later on. And again, you've secured your right side of the map here in the bot lane for those stacks to build up for the Vi. So he can just clear out, get his flash farm that way. You can soak the XP. The wave shoves in down bot as well for Health Scream. And you are still finding some bits and pieces here for Shopify from the laning phase, but it has looked a lot smoother for BetBoom. Like this start for Kiritic, this rush into Mask of Madness is going to feel really good. They've got their supports rotating in already for the 6-minute rune as well. And Shopify just don't look ready. They're stacking up on the side. Scam's walking in now. Maybe they can get lucky on the gamble here.
Thankfully for them, you don't have level 6 in your Puck right now, so Kanaomi going to be left behind to just die, as Yopaj will be able to take him out and does get an invis that he did bottle earlier. The GPK could not really help because he is still level 5 in fact. Just finally hits level 6 now. Had he been level 6, I think he would have happily gone for that fight against the Storm, but knowing that he doesn't have it, he won't bother.
Again, they did set up nicely there on the side of BetBoom, just wrong side of the map for GPK to hedge his bet on for that refill. And does miss out a little bit. Good start for Yopaj. Free Galvanized stack on that level 6 timing. Can try to rotate with the invis if he'd want. It doesn't feel like we really have a launching point in either lane though. Perhaps top could be a good bet if you can chain stun Miero, but he has been playing a little bit conservatively. They're setting up for Shrines of Wisdom instead. Doesn't look like we're getting any shenanigans whatsoever. Just a straightforward 1-for-1 trade. No one sniping the other one. And that's actually pretty good for Shopify. Right? Like normally you see some contention, especially on the right side of the map. Yesterday we saw it a lot on the dire side. Shrine of Wisdom, Divide doesn't get contested. He manages to clear those stacks and he's got the full Vanguard up 7 minutes in. It's not like it's a free farm Darks here, but he's doing a little bit better than Miero in terms of net worth overall after a very rough laning start here for Divide.
Yeah, absolutely. Divine now going to feel confident enough to get back into the lane and start pressuring her up against Kiritic, who has still been completely free farming on this Sven. Already just about 600 gold ahead of the opposing Ursa, but here comes Skem. They're going to try and set up. They've got a sleep to play with, but they don't have a Fiend's Grip, so this could be a bit of a dangerous fight to try and force, and it does not seem like it'll work. As Devi Lama will die, Skem now going for a run, but Skem's almost certainly just going to die as well. He'll go for a TP attempt. Kiritic doesn't have the TP, or rather doesn't have the stun. So they do at least get Skem out, but Devi Lama does die pretty easily, and you kind of question what the attempt was for. Like, without Fiend's Grip, I don't think they can even hope for that.
Yeah, no. Maybe if they had another body come in, like a little bit more from, say, just Health Scream, perhaps, although it's a level 1 Illuminate. You didn't have Yopaj in position as well. Sven is pretty damn tanky. just with the power treads and the Mask of Madness. Not an easy target to burn down. They are trying to move out with a smoke now on the side of Shopify. Mind you, this is without the Vac wall. They will try to just brute force it onto Kiritich. They understand he has been free farming, but I don't know if they have enough damage. Perhaps just Chakra on Yopaj could apply enough spell spam here.
He's already popped the God Strength here, Kiritich. Let's see if he can find a way to turn this. They'll jump in, see if they've got the damage this time. Kiritich, he's lost half his HP. The TPs are coming. A big stun as well. Kiritich, he's actually still alive. And even the shackles on double. Kiritich, he's walking away with the Aphotic Shield, but Yopaj on the chase will finally finish the job. And he'll just go for a run as here comes GPK now to try and help out. He will take down Skem, and it looks like they might even have Divine Llama. So 1-for-2 trade in the favor of BetBoom, but they are forced to watch their Sven die. And I suppose for Shopify Rebellion, they might consider that worth.
It's somewhat worth. I feel like you're throwing too much against the wall here for the Sven. Again, you're not respecting how tanky this hero is. Your output in Yopaj isn't really that high. It's not like he has something like his Kaya or his Witchblade up for a little bit more magic damage on top of all of that. It's really not quite there yet. And the one key thing for Shopify is you're sacrificing some heroes, you're at least buying space out for Yamato while also slowing down Kiritich. So that's the one blessing. The Sven doesn't really mind though. Again, Kiritich already has the max out Greater Cleave. He's clearing out the creep waves quick. Hold on.
Aggressive jump in, but they don't have Fiend's Grip. So GPK is not going to die. He gets away with the Arcane Rune that he did just pick up before Yopaj could TP in, so another little win for BetBoom. And this is that stage of the game where I do feel like you want to try and give some more space to Skem to hit this 6 path. As Divine Llama now being jumped down at the bottom lane, does get the wall down. Will go for the Surge and does make it. So he's going to be just fine. Like I was saying, John, it feels like that stage of the game where you might want to give a bit of space here for this Bane. Are they still going? Divine, Skem, he's going to find himself a Wind Ranger in the backside. Yopaj is around, but this looks very, very kind of chaotic almost. They are just going to leave. They realize this is not the fight they wanted. Coil will be committed onto Skem. He'll have to take the gank for the team. And Shopify, they'll have to leave the area.
I mean, I appreciate that they're trying to find off this movement across the map, and that Devi is sort of making space for the team by just dragging all of that attention to himself. Again, this is providing a lot of time for Yamato to finish up that Battle Fury, just lacking the recipe now. So the space has been utilized well by the side of Shopify. The issue is it is coming at a sacrifice, right? Like again, you're kind of sacking Yopaj just a bit by making him move all across the map without one of these early items up first. You are also just having a pretty slow game on Devi, although he does get the privileged access into the jungle. He's clearing out the next set of stacks on Ancient now to try to work himself into that aura buildup. For the side of BetBoom, again, this movement, sure, they're having to react, they're moving across the map, they still have their triangle in control, huge stacks built up like Kataomi. You've got a Sven that can easily clear that out. The Echo Saber not too far off as they're jumping in and playing tag, but not really finding too much, just poking onto GPK. They still have rune control as well, though.
Wall?
Cheeky wall.
Just a cheeky wall. He wasn't even lined up with the power rune anyway. So, you know, no real point to it. GPK avoiding completely everything. Still 5-2 though. A lot of stacks here for Kiritich. He's going to really enjoy his time here. It's a bit of a miss, right? Because you don't end up just spotting these stacks being made. So Kiritich is going to get so much of a gold influx now on the Sven. This is one thing where you're like, maybe instead of just running down bottom the whole time, maybe you could have scattered out those stacks that were made. I'm not sure, John. They still haven't found that tier 1 bottom tower while this time's going on. All these attempts have been made. Now Skem gonna have to find out the hard way. They are hunting him down. He has hit his level 6 mark at the least, so he does get that 6 up and running. But BetBoom will take his life for it anyway.
Yeah, not the biggest kill. You don't mind that too much on Skem. Again, you're giving info. Everyone's stuck bot. You're buying space still for this Ursa, who again has done a great job of keeping up with Kiritich's free farm. Considering again all those stacks Kiritich cleared out, how free his bot lane was, outside of the gank attempts onto his life. Yamato is within striking distance of that Sven. 500 gold off the mark, going into the Blink Dagger next, and that's when you want to see this Ursa start to join the team, right? Like, you want to start taking some engagements. You want to clear this path into Roshan or the Tormentor relatively soon here, and that's what the timing of Shopify have to play around. They've got that Spirit form up, they've got the recall ready, and they can kind of run and gun. Yopaj at least has the Kaya flying in, so there is a little bit more oomph to his hits, a little bit more mana to play with as well.
Could be a bit of a jump in. Yopaj getting caught by a coil. We'll just break it as now the TPs are incoming. Devi, he's dropped the wall down. Even the Ursa moving in now from Yamato. Trying to go after Miero, who does have the borrowed time. Meanwhile, Skem holding down the puck with the Fiend's Grip. But GPK, he's still not down. Nobody focused down the puck. Skem held him the whole duration. GPK, he's going to be able to get away. And in fact, nobody dies, John. He held him down for the whole 4.75 seconds, and nobody focused down GPK. The story of my life.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough call for Skem, right? Like, he sees that opportunity, he takes it. At the same time, they were having to play around Yamato, who's coming from the left side, and that just meant they had to try to focus down the Abaddon, which is really not the prime target you're going for. And you saw how long and how durable Miero is. But they were kind of cut off. That was a beautiful split up from the side of BetBoom. A bit of a missed opportunity for Shopify. Again, it feels like that was just a little bit too much in the heat of the moment, where Skem manages to get that grip, but again, seeing the rest of his team, they just weren't ready for it.
They weren't. It doesn't matter anyway. I mean, just even holding him down the whole team fight's great. He doesn't have to die for it to matter. Just BetBoom still getting away with nothing being taken from them. It's gonna make it feel a little bit sore. They'll get that bottom tier 1 tower they wanted for so long, but BetBoom don't get the mid tier 1 easily. The thing is, though, of course, Shopify now having access to that Tormentor, they've got the Hellscream shards. Of course they've got a Coddle, John. How can you not get the free shards immediately?
Yeah, it's kind of wild. Just always Coddle, huh?
Never fails.
That is the sickest 1.4k gold in the game. Like, that shard is just sickening. It's wrong, but you get it for free. 6-2, 1k lead for Shopify coming in. Very marginal lead overall. They are falling behind in terms of kill action, but they are working the map well. A little bit of a clump up top as the side of BetBoom wants to start to cut access off from that tier 1 top. They can get in position to poke and prod. It does look like they're not fully committing on either side. I do appreciate the vision game here from the side of BetBoom. Like this ward on mid right around where the tier 1 would be, right outside of sentry range. Going to be very sneaky. Might be able to scout out some smokes as well later on if you're not too cautious here on the side of Shopify. And just the defensive wards, considering all of that movement across as well from Shopify. They've got a good hold on the map right now on the side of BetBoom in terms of information. They've got some key to items lined up as well. Kritic, he finished at Echo Saber. He's already got his blink. He's going straight to BKB. And it's a quick process for the Sven to find that farm. Once he does have that BKB, it forces a very tricky choice on the side of Shopify. Like, if you have to, you might have to grip the Sven instead of the puck, but that just gives a really free time for GTK. So it's a lot of pressure on Skem to kind of make these choices now if a huge 5v5 does break out with that BKB later on.
Look wide. I mean, 6-2, 17.5 minutes in as well, Jonathan. No F10k for anyone quite yet either. One of those games. Kuritic still having the time of his life, but Yamato just about 200 gold behind. Great old time on the Ursa. Miero could get spotted very soon on this Abaddon. And will get spotted, but Yamato is going to be careful not to get spotted himself because he's going to jump in with the God Strength. Oh, that's a lot of damage. That is a lot of damage. They'll drop the wall, but it doesn't matter. Back and back in. I mean, Devi's still trying, but they've already lost 2 targets. Here comes Yopaj to try the GPK puck. GPK still getting away, trying to go for the double damage. We'll leave it, but here comes Kuritic. Oh my goodness, just incredible damage here from the Sven. Devi will get away with Hellscream, but that's about it. It's a 3-for-1 trade in the favor of BetBoom, and That one was only their support AA. Not a big deal.
No, it's really not. And kind of goes back to just these wards, right? Like they managed to get the D ward on that defensive board that you had in BetBoom, but it gave all the information you could ask for here. Full value taken by the side of BetBoom. And you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time. You don't have that forward vision for yourself inside of Shopify. They were ready on the side of BetBoom. They still have TP point access on the tier 2 as well. And if you don't get that jump in with this Ursa, you're just a sitting duck.
They're trying with the Fiend's Grip now to burst him down, and it seems like Yamato has enough damage, just enough in fact, before the TP rotations did come in. And that's how I think you have to play. Like, you just, every time you see him, just group up, go for a quick Fiend's Grip, take him down, and then find something else. And they do find something else this time. Don't they find Roshan?
That's the big timer. And they managed to take the Tormentor earlier after a decent set of engagements. Now into the Roche as well. They're fully online for Yamato to kind of take some risks, force some fights out, going for his BKB, which is a little bit slower. And then the gap between Yamato and Kirtic much wider now as the Sven is just working the map a little bit better. Although the Battle Fury from Yamato should allow him to keep up at the least. For the side of BetBoom, you are also just going for a scaling on Miero. So he's not going for like the Aura build, Abaddon offlane for Drew build. He is going for a lot of utility. Orchid coming out now. And the Harpoon set to come out with the Point Dagger as well. So you have a ton of ways of just ping-ponging this Ursa around. That's going to be a nuisance point for Yamato. Like, this Ursa is going to be prone to being kited, especially if he gets a jump before he pops the Enrage. Although at the least, you can maybe try to run around with your Shard. Not going to be as pleasing in comparison to your full Ags, which almost feels like he has to get now, just because of that pressure that he's playing on the front line. 9-4, still a very even game in terms of net worth. Less than around a 1k lead for Shopify. Not the most meaningful, as the farm distribution has been relatively even, but only really Kirtic being marginally ahead in any substantial mean. I think the side of Shopify does have to be really cautious about this BKB time of Kirtic. Again, that last fight, right before his pickoff, that wider fight around that vision area, that was Kirtic without BKB, and he's playing full confidence. Now that he's got it flying out soon in 80 gold, you have to make that choice in Scam. You have to find these angles. You have to initiate on the side of Shopify. You cannot afford to counter-initiate, as we've seen before. You just get blown up way too quick.
And just watching Keeper of the Light just teleport across the map over and over again, just so stupid. So dumb. He's just teleporting between top and bottom over and over again. He must have done it about 6 times. Just clearing out creep waves. Anyway, BKB up now onto Kirtic. And BetBoom's still looking fantastic here in this game, as they are going to go for a big smoke up now. I don't think they're too worried about fighting into the Aegis of the Ursa. We saw how fast Yamato will die if Kirtic can just get on top.
That's a good scan.
It is a very good scan. Shopify Rebellion, they know where they are. And it seems like everyone will successfully be able to leave in time. Nobody from Shopify getting caught with their pants down in this scenario. So this run around here from BetBoom, not going to amount to really much but a repositioning. Although Yamato is on the right side of the map, he's actually the closest target to them.
Another good scan.
But he looks like, yeah, another good scan. They'll be okay.
A good reads out from Shopify. Again, they are lacking vision on the map. Just that one aggressive ward by the secret shop top, but they can tell something's up. And the scans do ensure that that was a lot of time wasted out from BetBoom. In a time where Kirtic is not farming up, at the least he doesn't show that BKB around the map yet. So you still have that surprise factor here for the Sven. But you're doing a great job inside of Shopify of maximizing this space, right? Like, Devi has 2 aura items up, Crimson plus Pipe. They're going to make the movement across now into the gate as well. Same route that the side of BetBoom did. We'll see if they have more success with this one.
They're kind of getting close to a BKB on Yamato, though, so I'm not sure if they really want to force a big fight, but they'd love a pick-off. Zip in, Miero was scouted out, so Yopaj going to find the perfect jump there onto the Abaddon, and it seems like the TPs are coming. It is only one so far. Miero, can he TP away? He cannot. The vacuum is there, and he will go down. Like, Skem was already ready. just in case he saw somebody else TP to that tier 2 tower. Sadly for him, Kataomi did TP into the tree line, so he couldn't see him. But it doesn't matter. They got a Miro kill. They'll look for the tier 2 bottom tower for a bit, but it looks like they won't finish it. They'll leave.
Yep.
So the scoreline remains at 9-5, 2k net worth advantage for Shopify. But yeah, it's still a very slow-paced game.
And it is. You know, it could be worse. At least it's still 24 minutes in. We're going to cross 10 kills eventually. Maybe Schem gives it away.
Maybe.
Yes.
Happy days.
Schem. Double digits at least, you know. It's progress. It's progress. And I really love these sneaky wards out from BetBoom. Like, another one right in front of the tier 2 mid in the tree line. Nice and sneaky. Can try to spot smokes from mid lane. Sets up for some aggression later on here from the side of BetBoom. Not the easiest one to de-ward either. So again, they've always got this really good information game going here on side of BetBoom. Aegis does expire, but the BKB is up for Yamato. So they could still choose to smoke off of that, and the side of Shopify will give it a shot. Again, map is relatively dark here for Shopify. Outside of that one ward they have in front of the bot tier 2, which is a long way away from their smoke area. And this lack of information makes this a little bit of a ring around Rosie. A shot in the dark to look for that kill.
They're looking. They'll stick around for the tier 1 mid tower. Yamato will take care of that. Miro is the closest target if they ran directly south, but they will not. They'll continue running east. Scan will catch GPK by the Twin Gate, but they are pretty far away from GPK, so it doesn't seem like they're really going to have the time to get there. Instead, they're going to take over this bottom side of the map once again and maybe continue working towards that tier 2 bottom tower. I mean, they could still hope for some kills, but it seems like BetBoom are very well aware that they are hunting right now, and of course, GPK and Kataomi just hugging the right side of the map, hoping that nobody comes. Is now Hellscream, or Schem could get targeted. A big smoke now coming in from the side of BetBoom as they are going to find Schem. Nice little pick off to get things started, and without Schem around, I don't really think you want to force a fight, even underneath your own vision as Shopify.
No, again, there's another sneaky ward right by that gate. You see the ramp area.
Oh, Yopaj, you blinked right into it. He zipped right into it. Oh, Yopaj gonna go down. Kataomi, he does die to Yamato, but what does it matter? He has to TP out of there. 4 down for the price of 1 once again. And it's just, like you said, John, the warding here from the side of BetBoom just absolutely fantastic.
It's all been Kataomi. I'm not sure what Yopaj was even thinking. He zipped in, he saw the gate being used. A nice little bait with a courier across. I'm not sure if that was intentional from GPK. But maybe Yopaj started around thinking that it's a hero he could try to initiate. Didn't know there would be a ward under anyhow, but the punishment's severe. Again, BetBoom are just finding all of these angles in the fights. The side of Shopify are just not engaging the way they'd want to. And again, there's such a big lack of vision. They do have wards down around the map now, but they're not in the most sneaky spots. Again, the one in front of the tier 2 probably is the most useful one. This ward they set up right before that fight was just a setup for the Tormentor fight that they were anticipating there, which they didn't find again because of that great counter warding from the side of BetBoom. And Shopify, that's where the deficit's coming in from. Like, they're smoking up, they hit their item timings earlier, they had a slight net worth lead, they just had no information to play with. Whereas BetBoom has the map under their control. Like, sure, Shopify was dodging out a couple of ganks here and there as well with some outstanding scans, but they've not been able to hit the nail on the head while they're strong. And that's starting to slip away. You've got the blink up in Miro. He's going for the nullifier next, skipping away from that harpoon. Doesn't need that extra control. You've got the butterfly coming out for Kiritich. He has the full Daedalus up. Serious Fence fully online now in terms of output and burst damage. And for Shopify, you've kind of hit a wall. Like, the Vi Llama is going back now for his BKB. Yopaj still working back into the Witchblade after going for the Kaya Sanj first in BKB. At least they can hold their ground and fight, as long as they're not initiated upon first. Like, if the Sven finds the angle in, or if GPK just finds the Dream Coil quickly, or gets the silence off first, you're in trouble here. As BetBoom are starting to scout around again with a smoke. They don't quite spot anything under their wards, but they are in the right spot on the map here.
They're going to be spotted right now. Hellscream going to get caught anyway here on the Keeper of the Light. So Hellscream, well, he's going to try and buy himself a bit of time and space, but he is eventually going to die. Not the worst case scenario at all if you are Shopify only losing the support so far. They are still going for a bit more of a hunt. Yamato, he does stick around for a tier 1 top tower. Both sides waiting for this next Roshan, but sadly for BetBoom, not getting quite lucky with an early respawn. They would have loved that Roshan right now without that keeper up, but he'll be back up in time by the looks of it. Miro trying to sneak up from behind the side of Shopify up at this top lane. Power shot giving a bit of vision here to BetBoom. They'll see Miro, who does jump in, looking for Skem on that bait, but he'll look to back away. Now they jump in. Yamato trying to go after the AA, but the Glimmer Cape going to save. Kiritich in the meantime in the middle of everybody. He'll throw a stun out, and he does take down Divine Llama. That's one down for Shopify. There's your buyback from Divine. Have they found somebody else? It seems like they do find Skem. Miro blocks him off, and Skem will have to die to boot, though he does not have buyback. Roshan is now officially available, by the way. Looks like Shopify, they might try to sneak. Can they? No, they cannot.
That smoke might have been clipped by the ward again. Might have seen it right on the edge of that low ground. So, if you're trying to be sneaky here, it's going to be a rough one to find. The buyback from Devi, I do appreciate that. He understands the strength of just getting recalled back into the team fight. But they did a great job again in BetBoom of just splitting that fight apart, isolating away Skem, ensuring that Fiend's Grip wouldn't be something they had to worry about because he's busy playing poke with Miro, who doesn't care at all for that Bane, of course, and just made it another nightmare for the side of Shopify. They don't manage to commit for the Rosh. It does go back down bot for daytime. If they take a fight here and somehow win it, that should open up the avenue for Roshan, but BetBoom's also ready and rearing for that fight here.
And Roshan still available for both sides. Both sides have 5 heroes up and ready to go. BetBoom obviously going to be feeling a lot better about their chances here, considering Divine Llama had to buy back for nothing earlier on. Oh, and Yamato! Quick blink out. Coil's going to land, but he does get the BKB off, trying to go for the man fight against Kiritich. Can he do it, though? The Fiend's Grip! They've locked down Kiritich! Kiritich is gone. Miro could not get within range to help him. And that could mean, in fact, it will mean that Roshan should go the way of Shopify Rebellion. They are going to find Kanaomi on top. Double kill for Yamato. Skem once again. I'm telling this Bane, you hit that Fiend's Grip. If Miro's not around, you're in big trouble.
And you are. And that's just really quick reflexes up
he's
from...
still going.
Oh.
GPK, he got caught by a nightmare there for a second, trying to get the blink away, but the Illuminate connected. But he's going to be okay in the end, I think, as he will eventually blink, but GPK still being chased. Yamato finally finishes off the Roshan and does pick up the Aegis. Skem Bane, though. He's doing God's work, this man.
And he is, but again, it's also good quick reflexes out from Tomato. Dodging out that smoke break instantly. Managing to drag that fight a little bit further back, buying that time for his team to come in, managing to get his BKB ult off, and dodging out that Ice Blast. That's a huge whiff for Kataomi. If he managed to nail that, perhaps he had enough damage there to dig in. Maybe he managed to land that first stun, if that blink didn't come out fast enough. But they do everything right for Shopify. All the tools and pieces just fit in. Tomato and Skem making that one work out in your favor. Side of BetBoom, again, they still maintain a 4K lead, 17-8. Theoretically, they are the leaders of this match on paper, but Shopify has gotten themselves a little bit of a shot in the arm. You have to be cautious on the side of BetBoom, but committing all in on the Ursa when you don't manage to lock him in. It's kind of that same story. Your counter fight on BetBoom is a little bit better, to be fair, but it's all a matter of, can you get that initial stun? Can you get that control onto this big piece of the puzzle before it can do what it wants in the middle of these engagements? And for BetBoom, they just missed the mark last time around. They also maybe got a little bit surprised by the basher from Yamato. A couple of lucky bashes, true to BKB. Suddenly Kiritich is just, in that downtime, not doing damage. Full Abyssal now for Yamato. So that simplifies these fights here for the Ursa. You do at least have some tools coming in from the side of BetBoom. A Nullifier out, fully done on Miero. Going back now for that Harpoon into a BKB of his own. So again, some ways of trying to kite this Ursa as the game goes on. But you are getting a lot of utility out on the side of Shopify. Right, like the site of Vice for Yopaj being built up now as he's diving.
He is diving. Rotobatos, though, going to make it a little bit hard to continue chasing save. Coil committed, does find two, but Yamato is here. He'll make the jump on GPK, though they will save with a very nice shackle save, and now the double Ice Blast to land. In fact, never mind. Yamato still rushing forward with that BKB, but will be forced to retreat now that the BKB has been expended. Seems like BetBoom will do the exact same. Probably very happy they have not ended up losing GPK. Had there not been a double shackle by save, I think GPK was just guaranteed to die.
100% would have been just dead. You had enough of burst window there. You had more than enough follow-through control. Or even just the damage after that abyssal usage from Yamato should have taken care of that puck. But they do manage to stall for time here inside of BetBoom. Again, it's 17-8. They maintain the slight advantage at 3K. Yamato is number one in that worth, going for his own nullifier at this point. And it's all down to just execution. That brilliant vision game we had on BetBoom a while ago, they've not been able to reestablish that same access on the map. They do have one ward down bot, matching the Shopify ward, watching in that bot jungle, right by the tier 2. But nothing else beyond. And that's really cutting into their positioning now on the side of BetBoom as well. They've been plumped up a little bit more, playing a lot more cautiously with how aggressive Shopify is being. And now with Yopaj finishing up that side of Vice, the chain control for GPK is on hand. GPK went for nothing defensive. No BKB, no Yules, nothing like that. Of course, up against Bane. And no Lincolns just yet. Still a long ways from getting that spell block onto himself. So you have a lot of opportunities here for Shopify to kind of dig in. And even with something like Lincoln's, you have enough single target spells to also just go through that spell block anyhow. So I'm not sure if you're too concerned about this timing on GPK if you do stagger your spells quick enough on the side of Shopify. As they are on the hunt with a smoke, wanting to get some value here for Yopaj for that fresh sight.
Looking to make the plays. Miero the closest target, but he's in that right back. Never mind, Yamato, he just jumped right in. Miero gets the borrowed time eventually. Still in big danger. Like, never mind, he's out of there. He's safe. Jump in again. Yamato this time the target. No follow-up to the Dream Coil though. Yamato just standing his ground, waiting, knowing that he still has that secondary life available. It seems like eventually, though, he will be forced to retreat. Might just have to wait for the reset on the Aegis.
Yep. Again, a great back and forth. BetBoom are wasting some utility out. From the side of Shopify, it's a minute where you don't have a wall. It's a minute where you're probably not looking for that wider team fight. Maybe just opportunistic pickoffs here. And BetBoom can just kind of sit back, play the game slower. They've got that Harpoon ready in about 700 gold here from Miero. So more ways of just dragging people around. Maybe another cheeky way to try to force break a Dream Coil. Tormentor is open for the side of Shopify. You know, get straight to digging in. And Ice Blast is keeping track at the very least.
He is. Things a little bit challenging. Not so much though. Divine Llama now picking up a free chance for himself in the dark seat. Mid lane. Immediate TPs in from Shopify. They seem to want to go for an immediate fight after that Tormentor. Miero. Oh, he's going to show himself again. He's running his vision. Miero, he'll survive for now. Yopaj, in the meantime, going right after GPK with his Hex out. Yopaj, can he get the kill? No, he cannot. The Shackle again from Save, buying the time. They'll find Miero at least. GPK surviving on 100 HP. Still not going to be feeling too good about that. Miero dying, GPK almost going down. And man, that delay on the Lincoln Sphere for GPK, it's really messed him up. Because he can't do anything confidently now. In fact, he's going for an Aeon Disc instead.
Can't fault him for that one. Just having that safety net to at least ensure that if he is caught out, he can still bail himself out. I think the one reason why BetBoom isn't losing anymore is because Miero's copying all these rotations first. Like, he's getting jumped by Yamato every single time, and that is freeing space up for the puck to look for a better position. You know, it puts the Sven out of the firing zone, and makes it a little bit awkward for the side of Shopify to take a fight, because they can't kill Mero fast enough. Maybe if you manage to build up a Yules on one of your supports, perhaps, that could help to isolate away this Abaddon, and you can try to focus on those targets in the back, but you aren't building any of that up. You are going for an Orchid up on Skim. So at least that will give you an option to break the Lincolns, or, well, no Lincolns anyhow, but a little bit more control. The silence is going to be a nuisance for sure for GPK, who, again, has nothing defensive. Nothing like a Yules, nothing like a BKB, because you're playing up against a Bane. Means that if you're not itemizing against that with Lincolns and you're just banking on this Aeon Disc, until that Aeon Disc is up, Scam is going to be a thorn in your side once he has his items up. He is also adding the Aetherlens and Blink to find that position in these engagements to get that grip off. And there's that Orchid fully done. On all the control you could ask for with a Sight of Vice on Yopaj, with an Orchid on the Bane, and you can just look for these engagements. A little bit of a smoke out from the side of BetBoom. It's the side of Shopify are playing clumped around their vision, just in case. See if BetBoom manages to get a rotation anywhere. Again, their vision game has been a little bit lacking now. They've not been able to successfully cross the river too often. So it's a little bit of their turn to take some shots in the dark here to look for a movement across the map to be successful.
BetBoom's already smoked up looking. Hoping that perhaps the 40-minute power rune will spawn bottom and somebody would try for it. It does spawn bottom. Shopify not going for it yet. GPK is waiting to see if Yopaj will zip in for that shield room, but eventually does take it. Shopify now playing very cautiously here in this game one. Very, very back and forth style of game here between these two sides. Of course, the next objective for either side is going to be the next Roshan, which we don't know when that is going to respawn. Bottom tier 1 tower seems like where they'll go for now for the side of BetBoom. They will take it, no problem. Smoke committed by Shopify Rebellion through the mid lane. There is that Aeon Disc now available on GPK, so that could be the big game changer in this next team fight. Shopify still hunting around. They're running the right way, John. Through the triangle where BetBoom are currently waiting. Not much vision here for either team, though. They don't see him yet. Shopify running directly south instead. Now in the bottom Radiant chunk. Roshan's available, by the way. Because why the hell not? The scan's going to land here from BetBoom. They know where Shopify are. Nobody jumping in quite yet. BetBoom now wrapping around the long way. Back through the bottom lane they go. Can Shopify read this move? So far, BetBoom are undetected here, Jonathan.
Hellscream?
Oh, they might find Hellscream. They'll see him. They'll drag him back. They should have him as well with the Ghost Form, make it a little bit hard. Hellscream, he does go down, but Kiritich in trouble again. Kiritich is gone. Oh, Yamato's caught him. They've still got the Fiend's Grip and everything else to play with. The GPK going to try and jump in and deal with the Ursa. Yamato, he's dropping low, but no, Yamato, he does go down. Actually dying to save from the Wind Ranger of all heroes. Kanaomi, meanwhile, still in trouble, and so is GPK, but they are continuing the fight anyway. GPK, can he make the magic happen? Zip in from Yopaj, finding him once again onto the puck. GPK still trying to jaunt away here. But the chase is on. Yopaj out of mana, but finds the kill before he does run out. Save is the only survivor, and they're still thinking about the chase. Yopaj will go back in with the Sight device, but the wind run was there. But they're onto the tier 3 tower. They've lost Yamato, so they'll ignore the Roshan for now, and they'll try for the high ground instead.
That was such a sick response out from Shopify. That instantaneous blink back wall out, but a movement for the back wall out from the Vi as Hellscream's being caught out. You lose your Coddle, sure, but you're already in position for the team fight anyhow. For Shopify, managed to take care of that key target in the Sven. Kiritich just gets blown up. No defense being offered by the Butterfly with that MKB up on Yamato. And now into the high ground. Maybe a little bit slower without your Ursa around. Respawns aren't too far off, but it's more than enough time to at least take the melee racks. Shopify not taking risks for the ranged. And now they're in clear control of this game, number one. 19 to 13, sure, but a 7k lead coming out for Shopify. A little bit of a topsy-turvy game. But we're reaching that end state where your answers on BetBoom aren't really up to snuff. This Aeon Disc on GPK runs a massive risk because, sure, last fight you didn't have to deal with Ursa, but if Yamato was around, he has a nullifier. That Aeon Disc is just not going to do you any favors if that Ursa does manage to use that in the right spot. And I don't think the Will-O-Wisp cares for stat res. Like, he was still getting stunned up with the Aeon Disc pop, and his stat res wasn't really doing much for that little taunt, so it didn't feel like it at the very least. And it certainly did cause some issues. Really great positioning out for Hellscream to drop that Ags upgrade down, as they will take the Roshan now as well. Aegis, Rosh Banner, refresh on hand, and the cheese. Everything you could ask for Shopify to dig into the second set, or a second set of tier 3s and Raxes if they can start to find some of these tier 2s. BetBoom not out of the picture yet, but this game is getting a little bit complicated to play. Like, their team fight is very reliant on either a very good Stormhammer from building off of, say, a Dream Coil plus a good Waning Rift pull to just get that chain control with the Ice Blast on top, whereas for Shopify, they can kind of pick and choose a little bit more. Like, their potential to play single target pick off, kind of breaking these fights up, isolating away one by one BetBoom has felt a lot more threatening. And it also comes down to how BetBoom have drafted. Because they went for Sven and for Abaddon offlane, the only thing to catch the backline is pretty much GPK. So you have a lot of free room for Scam and for Hellscream to stand around. And if you find Hellscream the one time, you might not find Scam. You can't risk it with a puck. It's only the puck that has that high mobility to hunt for these soft targets before anything else can break out.
It certainly has not been a fun time for BetBoom the past 20-30 minutes or so. Shopify Rebellion still 4k ahead, which is really nothing to write home about, but it's the racks that was taken that's going to be causing the headaches now. As well, the Aegis advantage up, of course, Shopify Rebellion, they want to try and make some form of a play here to move in for those two lanes of barracks that were left behind. Zip in from Yopaj. Who's he found? He'll go for a D-ward attempt and does find it. Just terrifying, even going for these quick D-wards here for Yopaj. Yamato, in the meantime, just going to take care of that tier 2 top tower. What happened? Why are they so happy? Who knows?
They're enjoying the freebies. Just they're enjoying it. The coddled gameplay with a recall. It's getting ping pong across the map, perhaps. You know, I'm sure we're at that point in the game for a Hellscream. It's just you know, I have it off cooldown and just call you in.
That's what he's been doing. Jump in, shackle out onto the Ursa. They're going to try and burst down Yamato the first time around, but the jump in from Yopaj, he found Kiritich. The Sven's in trouble. He does at least find Divine Llama in the middle of all this, but Yamato going to jump right onto the Sven, and now the Fiend's Grip, locking him down. There's no Aphotic Shield to purge it off. They've lost their Sven another time, but they do have buyback. The problem is they don't have God Strength. He's got no way to refresh it either. You've got to wait 75 seconds for that to be up. Yamato still has the Aegis available, so he's still got that secondary life ready to go whenever. Miero's going to jump in quickly for a quick nullifier, and now a double shackle out as well. They might at least have the Aegis here on the Ursa, and they do. That's a start. There's now Miero being jumped here on the Abaddon. Does not have borrowed time as the Nightmare will land, and they do take him out. He's got buyback. But it seems like as long as they hold on to one lane of barracks, they're okay to hold on to those buybacks.
Yeah, I don't think there's any point in risking it for that one for BetBoom. They know that there's still tier 2 protecting their mid. It's going to take them some time to course correct on the lane. It's fully shoved out here. They are trying to just brute force into backdoor at least on the tier 2, and they find it. So now perhaps, all right, that gambit paid off. You're going to have to consider the buyback now. At least God's Rent isn't too far off, but you might as well wait for the full respawn at that point. No secondary life for Yamato. So it does make it a little bit more feasible to burst down this Ursa. But they're just going to find it for free. Another Roche banner still available here.
Getting jumped. Yopaj had enough of these shackles being thrown out. Save though will buy back as they have jumped in with Miero, trying to focus down Skem. Skem should die and does.
Ooh.
They will give up Miero for that. That's a dieback on your Abaddon. That's massive. And it seems like that's enough for Shopify. They got the tier 3, but they're not going to stick around too much longer.
Yeah, that's a very unfortunate timing for Miero. He has borrowed time. He didn't manage to pop it.
Oh.
I think they might have also just gotten enough damage to kill him at the threshold. Like, right through at 400. Right above 400, doing enough to clear him down with the Fury swipes. Yeah, just unfortunate buyback for Miero. Doesn't really stall out for much. At least the racks stand, but no Abaddon for 80. Another opportunity for the push here from Shopify. They did expand a Roche banner, so you can kind of clear out these creeps. Again, no secondary life on Yamato. But he does have Enrage ready to go again. BKB 40 seconds away. Still a window where he's going to have the BKB without the Abaddon to worry about.
Jump in. JPK going to try and get the start of Kiritich jumping in as well onto the Ursa, but he's been stunned up once again. Kiritich, he needs an angle of this Ursa. He's going to try again onto Yamato, but it's not looking good for him. The vacuum drag back as well, and he's down. Kiritich will buy back. But there's no God Strength here, John. 3 down for BetBoom. No God Strength available. Surely Shopify can go for this Megas, but they're waiting for the quick resets as well. I mean, you've got constant recourse here from Hellscream, so you can just go back to the fountain and reset. It's no problem here for Shopify Rebellion. They will come in for the Megas now. And they've got the Megas. Will they stick around for the tier 4? Still 65 seconds without save and 14 without Miero. They're going to move in. Smoke up behind Yamato as well. Everyone else just in the base from the side of BetBoom. Nobody move from this fountain until everyone's up.
I mean, I like that. You know, they're not giving an opportunity for that sneaky play out. They know something's up when Yamato's the only one showing forward like this. So they are playing this right on the side of BetBoom. Shopify isn't really getting too much. They do manage to get the mid creeps in though. And that's going to be the concerning part. This is do or die defense. 10 seconds till God Strength is back up. You got to line your shots up properly here. You got to get that isolation onto Shopify Rebellion somehow. You have to look for this backline. Like this Will-O-Wisp, the constant resets coming out from Hellscream.
Oh, jump
just
in.
a bit much.
They're going to try for Yamato. Yamato already losing half his HP, but it's not quite enough. The back wall as well from Divine Lava. And the grip on Kiritich. It's over. It's well and truly over. GG finally caught from GPK. Shopify Rebellion. I mean, John, I'll tell you what, the first 20-25 minutes looked pretty bad for him, but a couple of weird team fights from BetBoom, and there's suddenly must be poison.
Yeah. Oh god. Well, this draft certainly is a little bit poisonous from both sides. You do end up with a GPK mid bristle, so bringing back tech that we've seen every now and again in the past few months, and really saw a lot of in like 2019, 2020 era Army Geniuses with Mamang Daya, I will say, when he ran Bristleback mid up against a Tiny. In this case, up against the Pangolier, I'm not sure if you get the value. Again, first 2-3 levels for Yopaj should feel pretty good. He's got superior poke. You're going to have to be pretty smart with your quilt sprays here, and GPK should still be able to find farm. And starts to stabilize by around level 3, maybe level 4. And he can start to pressure back with a value point in the goo. But I would suspect that Yopaj should have a decent enough time. Already has a stick ready as well. A bit of a late smoke from both sides. See who does win out in grabbing that extra rune if possible here.
They're wrapping around here, Shopify. Miero is actually right behind them on this Medusa. Ignore him for now. Run back towards save. Meanwhile, Divide Llama's on the high ground of that triangle. Excuse me, rather the jungle. Divide. Take a bit of harassment here from Kataomi, but we'll be okay. It looks like it was a 3-for-1 trade, in fact, in the favor of Shopify, thanks to Divine Llama sniping that one away here from BetBoom on the top side. And it's you know, Primal Beast, you got 5 base armor. You're not really going to take that much damage on your way out. He's happy enough to just casually walk away.
Yeah. Walks away, gets a few high fives from Kiritic. That's going to be a nice little start here for the side of Shopify as we take a look at that mid lane. Again, GPK on that Bristle mid up against Yopaj on the Pangolier mid. It is a meanly matchup for Bristle, so he doesn't feel too bad. Again, Yopaj does have some durability and poke with Shield Crash, eventually the Swash as well. The consistent poking out from GPK, though, I mean, you're always going to be within the firing line for those quills. The damage can stack up for Yopaj if he's not too careful. But GPK is very limited by his mana pool. Right? Like, it's not, when you're in mid, it's not like you're going to go for a Soul Ring. You have to go for the bottle. Rune control is going to be a little bit easier for Yopaj as well. Although at least GPK can shove out the wave every single time and try to use that as his window to top up on the 2 and 4 minute mark. We'll see. So far, relatively even, a little bit better for GPK on the initial farm up, at least shoving out that wave. Taking a look at that top lane as well. The Vi is just looking for ways to pull the creep wave without contesting into Kiritic. He is showing a lot of respect for that early metamorphosis that was popped in the reflection as well. He knows that with Ricky on hand, you can't really expect much here from Hellscream. You're just going to have to play it passive and take what farm they can, avoiding the rest. But Kataomi gets the pull back. They've got that nice, funny creep in a very weird spot shenanigan here.
They certainly do. Kataomi still being chased down. Divine Llama is still level 1, so doesn't have Onslaught to break the gap. Was just trying to rely on the trample and just break the range, but doesn't quite get there. Kataomi, they're still going to just be forced away constantly by Hellscream, so you do have this really nice little kind of annoyance here from Shopify where Kataomi just can't ever feel comfortable. But Kiritic still perfectly fine on the TB, of course, in the meantime. And I suppose while we have a chance, John, we should probably look at the bottom lane. You are looking at Miero and save against Skem and Yamato. Miero finding himself on very low mana pool, but is still perfectly fine.
It's manageable enough. Already has the null up, so has a little bit more mana regen on hand, and has the stick in a PA lane and a Warlock lane. You're going to get a lot of value here. The thing is, it is a relatively passive lane.
Jump in. Yamato is trying. Miero's going to be alright. But Yamato is certainly looking for an angle in here. So he might just have to leave Miero be for a bit. Right, Fatal Bond's out. Maybe they can try for this just with the creeps alone. But they cannot. Miero's still going to be alright.
Oh,
Miero, be careful, sir. Be careful.
You gotta love that 250 HP, don't you? One little dagger. Such a fun little thing. But it's a hellish time for Miero. Again, this is a lane where your Dusa doesn't really have much with her partner. Like, Wind Range Redusa is just pretty passive lane as well. Kind of like the Ricky lane up top for Devi. So you kind of just have to soak EXP, find what farm you can. Maybe bigger importance here for the side of BetBoom is Lotus Control, if you can find that for yourself. Like, it is very pertinent that you get that extra top up for Miero, but Skem's already grabbed the first one. So already, again, off to a good time in managing that lane here from the side of Shopify with that shove out earlier on into the 3 minute mark, giving themselves the space to get a very free pickup and denying that resource away from the side of BetBoom. So far, looking pretty sharp for Spotify. At least Shopify. I haven't slipped up in a few years. It's been a while. Shopify down bot. The other lanes are going a little bit better for the side of BetBoom, though. And Yopaj on mid, starting to struggle up against the spam from GPK. He is fully out of mana, though. And that is going to lead into the walk back. And that's going to be the opening for Yopaj.
Yamato's going deep for this one, but he's dropping a little bit too low for his own comfort, I think, as saved. It's harassing him the whole time he was trying to go for the chase. And, of course, you don't want to underestimate that power shot with the kill shot facet. So you won't dive too deep on Miero, but that's the second time where Miero felt like he should have just been dead. Yamato again jumping in aggressively, trying another time. Miero out of mana another time. The Yamato, can he finish the job? He's got a dagger. He won't throw it onto the Medusa, though, as he lost vision. Jumps in again with the blink strike. Can't really hope for too much. Gets a dagger out, but it's still not enough. Dukes the power shot, though. As Miero is still here. Oh, he is still here. Miero! So, at what point do you just leave? Save?
One more?
Oh, he's all right. You haven't seen playing on the edge till you've seen Miero, Joe.
Oh yeah, no. Certainly cutting it close there. And they do manage to find Hellscream top at the very least, punishing this Ricky pick early on, but I appreciate that from Yarrow. You know, he's playing on knife's edge. He's doing what he can. He's trying to soak up. You know, he's hoping to get a little bit more in the stick, get it off cooldown, pop it back in, stay in the lane. And they are kind of taking attention away from Yamato. He's doing a great job of actually also just staying in the farm game as well on that Dusa. The mid lane, you have managed to see Yopaj start to recover from GPK walking back to get his mana top up. And he does hit that level 6 faster here on Yopaj. So maybe a smoother time for this power rune contest as the supports start to crumple in. Devi even getting the long pull around as well. Nothing too fancy as the illusion's just taken away by Hellscream. That does take away the top up again for GPK. Again, it's a little bit of a painful process for the Bristle. I mean, he does have the damage to the Quills up. He's got the Warpath up. He has Seeing Red. There's a ton of output here to play with. But Yopaj is very stable now in this lane with his own level 6 and just having the escape tool and the Rolling Thunder to boot. Not really many opportunities for either side to play there. And it's just leading to a little bit more of a static time. Much less action on mid, much more focused on securing their side lanes. And for those side lanes, the safe lanes are winning out by a massive amount. At the very least, Kiritich is winning more than Yamato is at the moment, which is exactly what you'd want from Terrorblade. You've got a lot of farm to find in the jungle later on. Whereas for Yamato, it's going to be a bit of a ride into that battle fury. Again, the timing's still going to be pretty good, but inherently the Terrorblade is going to have a bit of a faster start here.
Absolutely. Bottom lane, Miero again being targeted. Hellscream going to be there to back them up as well. Miero just trying to get away with his mana pool intact, and he is actually going to be just fine. They don't really have much more damage being added here by Hellscream's presence. Just a support Ricky running around doing its thing, and Miero is going to be just fine to survive that and onslaughters. Nobody even bothering to try and rotate to help him out. They knew he wasn't dying anytime soon. Another slow game though, I might say, Jonathan. 7.5 minutes in, 1-1 so far between these two sides. I appreciate it's still very early, but it's another one of those games where just the kill score not going up as high as you'd expect, as fast as you'd expect. But we are seeing Devi Lama jump Kataomi, but it doesn't really mean anything because he just heals up.
Yeah. Get the marches out, heal up. I think the space of the game kind of comes down to what supports you have, right? Like, you've got a Tinker on BetBoom, you've got a Ricky on Shopify, and neither one really lends itself to rotations all too well. So you don't look for that action mid, you don't look for the action mid, you're not really looking for kills in the side lanes either because the off lanes are tanky. You don't really want to try to clump up for either safe lane as well at this point, so it's just a matter of waiting for these spikes. At the least, you are starting to build some stacks up. It's a little bit easier for BetBoom to do that with a range support on save. Whereas for Shopify, they do have some large camp stacks at the least. Nothing on the ancient side, though. Should help them get that injection out for Yopaj or Divine Llama to get their mid-game items going. But yeah, a quiet game. 8.5 minutes in, 1-1. Very far away from double digits on either side. And yeah, they're just chilling. Sitting back, farming. This is peak Dota 2. When you've got Tinker and Ricky in the game, that's what you're looking for. This is pretty big on Yopaj, though, at the least. Diffusal up. So that's a good solution for the Dusa and the Bristleback. GPK going to be very mana constrained to get the Quills off. Could lead into a nice rotation to maybe finally find Miero here.
Miero's only got save around to try and help him out here. Yamato going to jump in immediately. Miero actually going to be just perfectly fine. They couldn't really break the distance. Yopaj actually getting tipped by Miero because he did end up missing the swashbuckle anyway. And Miero almost gets the grasp. Luckily for Yopaj, he was digging at the time. Didn't want to cancel the dig.
Yeah, gotta get full value out. Nah. I mean, I appreciate the attempt.
How little the kills mount. It's how little the kills matter to these two teams. They'd rather hope for a bounty or something. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, they want that 1 in 4 chance for the bounty. You know? Counts for a lot. Kiritich? Can they?
Jumped in. Kiritich should be dead here. Rolling Thunder is at a very nice angle. He does have Thunder, but the smoke screen is going to land nicely. And Devi Lama coming in right at the last second to secure the kill for himself. Very nice rotation. The TB was farming pretty effectively, but will have to take a bit of time on the sideline.
And it will, and that's the kill that Shopify really needs. Like, Yes, Miera's been annoying in the offlane, but the Terrorblade's been left alone a little bit too long. Put a stop to that. They can start to pressure onto the tier 1 just a tad bit. They are clearing out some good stacks in the back here. And Divine Llama should be able to find this.
Could be. Almost though. Divine dropping low does actually go down. Skem chasing Kataomi with the golem. Not going to really get there. In the end, Divine Llama unable to get the job done and in fact dies himself as they're trying to get the others out. But Skem is also going to go down to Kiridich. BetBoom going to be very, very happy with that exchange up at top.
They still managed to find a decent chunk out from the stacks. Anyhow, they're getting space out across the map. You are freeing up a lot of room here for Miero. The Meteor Hammer not too far off for him to finish up. Although,
jump in bottom. Miero forced the Stone Gaze to get away from that one. It's another rotation from Yopaj that doesn't really amount to too much here onto Miero, but he hasn't really retreated. Rolling Thunder's up in 2 seconds. Miero's going to show himself to boot, and now they'll definitely want to move in. Miero. Oh, Yopaj, no! It doesn't matter.
oh,
You know, I saw that mid-jump too. I'm like, what's the bet he's going to end up the cliff somehow? But he ends up, you know, it's all right. It happens.
it happens. They find a kill. They find a kill, and you know he gets value out of the rotation, again buying space out, getting some activity out for Yamato, who does have the Battle Fury flying in, so that timing's very on point here for our PA. Top of net worth right now, and you expected a little bit more out from Kiritich, but the constant pressure in lane has taken its toll, and the freedom given to Yamato does allow this edge for the PA early on. Should be a nice and quick route into the Manta style in this game. And we haven't really seen aggression out from BetBoom, which kind of goes back to the strat. Right? You've got Dusa, you've got Bristleback, TB, with a Tinker to boot. Like, no one is playmaking this match anytime soon. You are just going to be sitting back and farming. You're going to be playing a slower game. That is in favor of BetBoom, but Shopify is reaching the point where they're going to have tools ready. They're going to be able to be persistent with this aggression. They are trying to hunt down Skem here, at least for BetBoom.
Yamato's around, but doesn't really see a need to get involved. The Skem will end up handing his life over. Here comes the Meteor Hammer from Miero. Peak gameplay here for the Medusa. They'll finally get that bottom tier 1 tower. Again, not the biggest deal in the world. Shopify will happily just retreat and get back to farming. Yamato still finding himself the top net worth on the board here for Shopify Rebellion. So as long as the PA seeding creeps, they'll be more than happy to just watch these tier 1s go down. Even the stacks now being taken by both sides in their own triangles. It's complete parity here between these two teams.
Yeah. Again, I would say
maybe
that...
you get a little bit concerned about GPK, I guess, with the golden flex he just had.
It is significant. I would say you're actually happier in BetBoom anyhow. I mean, again, this earlier power spike for Shopify should be a cause of concern. You're kind of allowed to play this farm game on the side of BetBoom. Again, it's a very inactive game. You still have control of your jungle. There are some forward boards now from the side of Shopify from Hellscream. So the Ricky's starting to get that forward value going with a very deep ward spotting out Kiritich. And that could be a very nice target for this gank if they do decide to rotate in. We'll see. They've got Yopaj trailing behind them. That Terrorblade, again, hasn't had the best of times. With the forward vision now, can start to get a little bit tougher, but they don't actually fully commit for it. A little bit too far forward. There's still the tier 1 they have to take care of. The angle is a bit awkward, and that is exactly what you'd want here on BetBoom. Mind you, BetBoom also just can't threaten. Like, yeah, Miero shows pokes on Yamato. Boy, what are you really scared of? Not much, really. Karaomi?
Top lane. Karaomi. Maybe the danger here. They are going to go for a chase, but a big golden drop out from Skem, putting an end to that as GPK still chasing Divine Llama. Shackle going to land onto Hellscream. Divine forced to turn around with a big pulverize out of these fatal bonds. They're doing so much work here with the damage share. There's no Yopaj is around. Karaomi is going to barely survive. It's still a great fight here for the side of BetBoom as they do find a 2-for-1. The tail end of that fight did start to look a little bit scarier as the damage was really starting to amp up, but ultimately they still just did not have the numbers to throw at BetBoom.
No. And I like the timing of that for BetBoom. 2 big pickoffs into the Tormentor to the outpost. They've got the damage for this while Metamorphosis is still running as well. No problems here for the side of BetBoom at all, as they get that free shard up for Kataomi. And they've got the Warp Flare now to contend with. Going to be a pretty big issue for Divine Llama, actually, while he's trying to pulverize someone down, or tries to move in to get that pulverize going. Have some ways of trying to zone out that deeper dive from Shopify with that utility. Again, this slower game for BetBoom. They managed to get themselves a 2k lead in farm. Yamato is still number 1, but you're kind of edging out, mainly flowing into Kataomi, as you'd expect in Tinker. But that investment is paying off. Holy Locket already up, going for the Guardian Greaves. The mech itself not too far out now. So the sustain game is going to be up there. And Shopify, and they've got damage, but this will stall out that burst window, especially if Yamato isn't going to be showing up to try to get some methodical hits off.
Hero. Caught. He doesn't cut Omi behind him, so it's going to be pretty hard to deal with this Medusa. They have more TPs incoming. Save will also join. Ultimately, the jump in not really going to amount to too much. They are perhaps heading towards GPK on the Bristleback. I mean, it could be a bit of an interesting attempt to try for the Bristle. They'll group up here with Yopaj, still 4-man smoke to your Shopify Rebellion. They'll narrowly avoid GPK. They don't really seem to want him anyway, I think. Although I say that, they are turning as soon as they see him, so they are going to try for the Bristle. GPK, he'll run south. We'll find Skim. Yopaj going to show himself now. GPK being purged up here by Yopaj. He'll turn his back and just hold his ground. But ultimately, there is nobody coming to help GPK out. He will eventually die, almost taking 2 of them with him, but not quite there. Save? Oh, trying for the power shot, won't find it.
Managed to kill off Yamato in the jungle, though. I think you're happy with that trade-off. This PA is just number 1 net worth, much bigger target to kill off, and they're ready to fight.
Yeah, Yopaj actually already down here. Miro finding a nice, easy one. And with that, BetBoom not to be outdone. We'll go into that mid-tier 1 tower now. No problems here with taking it, thanks to Miro with that Meteor Hammer. And Shopify, they're going to try and slow this down as much as humanly possible, but I don't see how it's going to happen. They'll jump in. Rod of Atos now onto Divine Llama. He'll get rooted up, force the BKB and try to walk away. And he will eventually get out. That was his 9-second charge, though.
Yeah, I mean, at least it helps protect himself. Maybe didn't have to be in that position anyhow. Frank will look for a play. 5-8, 3k lead coming out for BetBoom. Again, they're playing this game just right. I love the aggression coming out from Kiritic. Like, he only has Power Treads, Manta. More than enough for you to start making some movement early on as Davai again.
Divine Llama, that's a bit of a sore one right there. I mean, you just popped your 9-second charge to get away, and suddenly you found yourself in a similar position. Not great news here for Shopify's. Now 4k net worth advantage sitting for BetBoom, and even if you've got all this farm on this PA, like, it's a pretty hard draft for a PA to just be able to run in and just hit people. As you're seeing, they're just happily running at her instead. Yamato still trying to get away, but GPK now on the chase right behind the PA as Yamato's just running out of options. He'll try to blink strike the other way, but he is looking dead. They happily take him down, moving on to Hellscream. Hellscream to die at a save. For BetBoom, the game's looking much more straightforward now, Jonathan. It really doesn't feel like Yamato's going to be able to stand there and hit people in these fights.
No. Again, that's what we were talking about earlier. Like, the PA needs something up front. You do have the body and the Vi, and I guess the chaotic offering as well that can kind of help set up to give that PA a burst window. But it's one big ultimate from your 1 support, and it's a little bit of a risk for your frontliner to come in. The Vi's been forced to try to buy space in some of these small skirmishes, which don't include Yamato anyhow. I think the big issue is that you basically have Hellscream trying to set up with smoke screens, but who's supposed to follow through? I mean, the Vi and Yopaj have been trying, but it doesn't feel like the follow-through stun is there. Especially since, again, your secondary support is a Warlock. Like, what are you supposed to do? You know, you don't have that follow-through without committing something like your roll or to pulverize onto that 1 target isolated. away, and it leaves you vulnerable for another fight.
Now I'm going to find one. It is going to be Hellscream once again getting caught in the mid lane. Here is this Ricky. And I'll give you credit where credit's due, Jonathan. You did kind of call this game as soon as you saw the Ricky support coming out. There you go. I mean, in fairness to you, you are at the stage where it just doesn't feel like it does anything anymore. You know?
No. Certainly so. It's just, I think Ricky conceptually is just not in a good spot right now. His biggest strength is that sentries are so slow to respawn. That's it, Yopaj.
Oh, Yopaj.
Jeez.
That's just so much damage. He's gone. Divine Llama trying to pulverize GPK, but GPK could not give a crap as he gets locked into place with that Rod of Atos, and now Divine Llama going down. Back to Roshan, I say. Nothing to stop them.
Yep. Not going to take too long to clear this one out. At least for Shopify, you're getting space out for Yamato. He does finish up the Manta, and he's going straight for the Shard. So you'll have the break option for GPK. I don't even know if that's the big issue here. Feels like at this point, Kiritich and Miero are issues of their own that you don't really have easy answers for. Outside of that one defusal here, as Hellscream's just getting double Atos up and then just gets shackled.
Incredible.
That's gameplay.
It sure is, John. It sure is. Look at a few highlights here. I mean, as you can see, Yopaj just getting annihilated straight off the bat, and Divine Llama, once that BKB wears off, just such a sitting duck here on this Primal Beast. And BetBoom, they have one of those teams, and this is something you repeated over and over again during the drafting phase, John, but this kind of draft is just, it starts to feel unkillable when you are ahead. And they are starting to look rather unkillable. Because now the tier 2 bottom tower is going to go down pretty nicely here. BetBoom, they're going for tier 3s. They don't give a crap. They want more. They know Shopify don't have what it takes to defend this.
No. I mean, again, they have Chaotic Offering. If you manage to get a good Fatal Bonds off, maybe a good Pulverize and roll on top of that, damage can flow. The issue is trying to find that angle is easier said than done here.
Well, there goes your tier 3 tower. DPK just kind of holding everyone else back. Bottom rack still going down relatively quickly here to Kiritich as he does find the melee, does find the range, and that's going to be more than enough for BetBoom to happily look for a reset. Wait for those cooldowns to be off and come back another time. No need to rush this game. They'll find a 10k advantage now. Sure, Yamato's still top net worth, but I just don't think it matters at the moment. It doesn't matter if you can't use it.
No.
Let's see if they can find a way.
I mean, they have all their spells ready. They know where BetBoom's approaching from, at the very least. No vision to scout out that smoke, so they just need some good usage here.
Then, will they caught this time? Yopaj trying with the Rolling Thunder to lock down a couple. Yamato's jumped in, but has not really found a target he wants to prioritize. He'll try to look for Kiritich, but they do end up losing save in the meantime on the Wind Ranger. Yopaj still dancing around as Kiritich going to move back in now, looking for Divine Llama, but they're unable to really lock somebody down long enough. Instead, it seems like they have found a Ricky in the backside as Divine still being chased by GPK. He will finally be left alone. Kiritich, in the meanwhile, Thundering does get Hellscream. Looking for Yamato, who has run away. Shopify buying back on Hellscream. Divine Llama now with the Pulverizer. Miero, he's almost out of mana. Surely he'll die here. Miero finally going down, and there goes the Aegis of the TB. Shopify continuing this fight. Kanomi's back in though. GPK moving back in a boot. Yopaj cannot sustain that much damage output. GPK looking to run away. Meanwhile, Kanomi does go down. Yopaj still in trouble though. Will die. Here comes Divine Llama, but Save is there with a shackle. Divine is down. GPK just will not die. Looking for more, they find Scam. Shackle's not really going to latch though, and seems like that's the end of that fight.
Again, a very prolonged fight. You found some good angles out for Shopify, but it costs you a little bit to get those engagements out. I think the big thing for Shopify there is that they got a little bit greedy with that initial pulverize out from Devi. He jumps in, he doesn't BKB, he gets the pulverize, instantly shackled. The response is swift from BetBoom, and that just breaks up their initiation. Right? They're not able to build off of that one key piece of control. They're not able to instantly burst down. The fight drags on, and in a prolonged fight, when you're playing up against a Tinker, you're always going to feel good on the team with Tinker because you just have that sustain. Saw a few uses of Guardian Greaves coming in there, some uses of Holy Locket to kind of pocket someone up. The March is just going on and on and on as well. And eventually you just win that War of Attrition out. They've got the opening now for the Tormentor here on the side of BetBoom. They get a good timing to use with their Aegis, as it was set to expire now around half a minute, would have expired anyhow. And they still have control on the map. 8 to 18, 13k lead up for BetBoom. For the side of Shopify, and they are reaching this point where the damage from Yamato should start to kick in, right? BKB's up, you're going for the Basher next, you're wanting some control because you simply lack it for your team at this moment. Maybe once you have that plus a little bit more, you start to feel a little bit better on your scaling here on Shopify's end. You've got the full ads on Yopaj as well, so he's managing to spam out more and more.
Devi's going to get out. BKB will allow him the space that time around, but my goodness, it's just so scary. Save. Hunting. Oh, he's going to find Yopaj. They've got the Pangolier locked down. Yopaj is going to have to pop that Rolling Thunder to find a way out of this one, and well, he should just be able to TP. He won't do so yet, though. Looks like he will stick around the area. Meanwhile, GPK going to find himself a mid-tier 2 tower. And they are slowly moving back onto the high ground again here. In fact, there's your Metamorphosis pop now by Kiritij. They don't want to wait too long by the looks of it. Rather, they don't need to. Here comes Devi, but a nice pushback from Karaomi. And now Devi Lama in massive, massive danger. Might just be set to fall, and does. Executed by Save as Yamato jumps in. A scary jump in from Yamato, but he does slowly walk his way out. Tier 3 tower now gone. Jump in again. Hellscream. Destroyed here by Kiritij.
I mean, it's
how do you even get
from
close?
Shopify. They threw out Chaotic Offering for nothing. That's their real... It's a key piece in their team fights. It's their one piece that helps them set the control up, maybe for a pulverize, maybe for the roll. Give an angle out to Yamato. Now you have no tool. Sure, the respawn from Devi is short, but without Chaotic, there's no threat on BetBoom. With no threat, they're not going to stop pushing.
Yamato's going to try. He'll jump in onto Kiritij. Kiritij still perfectly fine to just run away, though. But may end up going for a reset and waiting for that next member of the middle forces. And Devi Lama jumps in. Yopaj also going to do the same. The Rolling Thunder actually connecting on quite a few, though he's still in pretty big danger. He's just locked down, and Kiritij has got him. Kiritij just takes him out. They do at least get Karaomi, but I suppose you've just got to be happy with the fact that Shopify Rebellion have successfully defended that last lane of barracks for now. For how long, I don't know, though, as Devi Lama jumps in again by himself, looking to pick off Miero, but he's the one that gets hunted in the end. He'll try to make his way out. He has an onslaught in 5 seconds, but it's not coming quick enough.
No. There's still that opening for BetBoom. It's 3v4. Respawn for Yopaj is relatively short. Still no threat of Chaotic from Skem. There is damage coming in here from Yamato at the least, but you also have a lot of output now on Kiritij with that full MKB up. So the evasion's not going to be providing too much in terms of EHP at this point. They'll play it safe from the side of BetBoom. We'll see how long that Roche will take in a few seconds, or at least a little bit of a guess as to how long it will take, but BetBoom can just kind of hold back. Like, you're up against Megas now in Shopify. You have managed to find some angles. If they've managed to find Kataomi faster, I think you managed to pinpoint this Tinker threat in the back a lot quicker. The fights do simplify in a huge way. That and just having this shard now for Yamato can also just help the cause and softening up GPK as well for a quick burst. But it's got to be that Tinker first. Maybe even the Wind Ranger. Like, you have to take care of Save as well with the Shackles. And with his utility on the Atos and Force Staff. It's been doing a ton of work. And all of that comes down to more than likely Hellscream. Like, Hellscream has to be able to identify these targets, try to get the smoke screen off. He does have a shard, so there's no helping from the outside any longer, at the least. You have that going for yourself with that utility. But BetBoom, not even going to wait too long. Instantly smoking up, could look for some action, maybe a pick off into that last set of racks. Shopify have to be cautious about being caught off guard here.
Hey, move. Far forward, Divine Llama actually just blinking out before he takes any damage, but still getting caught by that Gale Force. Divine forced the BKB once again to retreat. BetBoom, though, not really retreating too much, just smoking up and repositioning. It seems like they are going to retreat in the end. A bit of a chase from Shopify Rebellion now. See if they can get something for their time. Although, maybe they're the ones getting hunted here as Yamato forced the BKB. Go for the man fight onto Miero, but Miero will walk his way out of there. They'll drop everything but the kitchen sink, but nobody's dying here from BetBoom. In fact, now they're turning back onto Yamato, who has no BKB left. He'll try to blink strike out, but he's still just slowed up too much by GPK.
Oh.
Even the Boglet's getting involved now. Oh my goodness, everyone against Yamato apparently. Is Hellscream trying to buy himself some space, also going to go down. 2 heroes with no buyback available. That's going to be a problem in terms of this defense.
I don't see it coming out. Again, you don't have Chaotic Offering to play with. GPK is just diving the fountain already while the rest of while his team was cleaning up there, just holding them back from assisting. And they've got room to just take those megas. The GG's called. They don't see the path here in Shopify. And BetBoom, they take it, man. I mean, they run this pretty greedy draft. There's no punishment out from Shopify. They have supports that are